Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back to the rest of the story. You know, I was a little kind of on the fence as to whether or not I'd like this USB outlet versus leaving the old, never used cigarette outlet and then trying to use the plug-ins for that, and just going with a dedicated plug, which I can actually plug 2 USBs in it. Really getting a lot of mileage out of these. I mean, the 76 more so than the 46, and I do have that plug that I made for the combine and the 8235 if we need them. But my GoPro was all burned out. My battery, I actually have a battery pack where I have 3 different batteries in it, and I didn't have it plugged in, so I was just kind of randomly pulling batteries out of it, just assuming that 1 out of 3 ain't bad. Maybe I'd find one that would work. So, especially seems how my cell phone charger is the same charger I need to charge that. Plug it in for about an hour and we're good to go. Unfortunately, I'm down here doing this. I'm not going to call it a salvage operation because there's nothing to salvage yet. We're still looking at doing this right the first time. So a little backstory is Ryan and I came down. I sent Ryan down about 12:30 this morning. I mean, I tested this yesterday. He went up to the lighter stuff, the drier stuff, and I came down about 45 minutes after he started because the stuff was light enough, thought, that I could start baling. I made 1 bale. I changed the nozzles out on my hay preservative applicator. I went from the red to the green nozzles. So instead of applying 128 pounds per hour, I was applying 160. We're gonna find out if the stuff works, because no, I meant to apply 160. I maxed it out because when I did the first outside round, I could see that there was some green in that outside windrow, and it's just like expensive, cheap insurance, you know, for this guy. Dumped the first bale out, 60-inch bales, and I felt it fall off the back of the baler, which for those of you that have never run a round baler before really don't know what I'm talking about. Any machine really. If you run it long enough, you start to pick up subtle pieces of information that the machine tends to give you while you're operating it, and you can feel about how heavy that bale is when it falls off the back end, and I felt it. So I went out with my hay probe, which I put back in my truck because I didn't want to destroy it. Learned from a viewer, because you know I'm a busy guy. I don't sit and wait for very long to let the meter actually have a chance to actually adjust and then test it. But I took my hay probe, stuck it in at an angle. I don't go to the face, so I go through the side of it and do like a third, the upper third or so of the bale. Checking moisture. I mean, temperature is irrelevant at this point when you're making it, but checked it, 17%. I'm aiming for about 15. Waited about another 30 seconds, 25%. Start to panic. 30%, it is written all over the hay preservative stuff. Do not, or it is not recommended to try to make hay above 30% and hope that you're going to put any of the preservative on it and that's going to do anything remotely close to keeping. So I hopped the fence because Ryan went over and started working on the neighbor's place, and checked some of those windows over there, and this it's the same story, cut and paste of last fall. September last year, we had the whole place knocked over and smoke out west. The forecast is for less than a 10% chance of rain, which the rain isn't what we're worried about right now. It's just getting the stuff dry, because the sun, even though we're supposed to have clear skies, isn't able to work at peak efficiency. So the sun isn't doing its job. So tedding this stuff out once yesterday with a little bit of breeze we did have really should have been able to push that heat through this material as I had it tedded yesterday and dried it out. I mean, this is why you got to be able and willing, which I'm usually not always willing and able, to adapt to the different conditions that you're given. Because like last year, we had the dry weather, but the stuff just wouldn't dry. And to top it off, the last couple nights, like last night, got up at 5:30, 47 degrees out. You get a pretty wicked dew when your overnight temps are in the 40s. What's that doing to the corn and beans? I don't know. The market seems to figure that the crops are going to be awesome because they're limit down for some reason. And honestly, I'm getting tired of even caring at this point. I mean, my targets are in. I mean, I'll look at them after I get done with this hay. But the problem is I mean, I want to get this stuff made because they're calling for rain in 2 days, and I was hoping to get this baled, hauled in, and I wasn't going to get it sprayed, the fertilizer back on until Saturday, because they're calling for rain again Sunday. So, I mean, I don't know, the word plan is a swear word, it's a 4-letter word, and as of right now, the plans are just completely useless lately. So, back in June, for instance, we made first cut. It was the June 10th or the June 13th, right in that time frame we cut and baled it. I don't know if we cut it the 10th or the 13th, doesn't really matter. But that stuff, heavier material, which I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse, but this stuff has potential, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean, this stuff, right, the second cut has potential, and if I can push everything through, which a lot of it is the weather, third cut could be right there. So every day that I lose making hay, hauling hay, getting my fertilizer down, I just want to get the fertilizer on. I want to get the hay off the field and preferably stacked inside and not get rained on. Unfortunately, it's probably going to get rained on. But it's getting wrapped 4 times, so the stuff is wrapped tight. As long as we don't get a really nasty storm, but they're calling for a 30% chance of rain Thursday. So hopefully it'll evaporate off and I can get it slammed inside somewhere. But back in June, the heavy cut, first cut, I cut it, I tedded it, I waited.